famous, let's say, Jewish figures over the past Jewish history in itself. We're a community that is experiencing and exploring the history of the great Chachamim from North African and Spanish countries over here. So we're going to speak about a great philanthropist that really will shape Jewish education in the Sephardic countries respectively. His name was Isaac Shalom. Mr. Isaac Shalom was a very great American businessman in his day. He was a philanthropist and one of the leaders of the Sephardic and Syrian Jewish communities in New York. Now, not just in New York, he's going to be very, very instrumental. We see that all throughout, especially the 20th century, he would actually shape, let's say, a global Jewish education in a great way, especially during the mid-20th century. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the famous person's life, famous businessman's life. Let's just say, I believe he was born in September 15th in the year 1887. He was born in Aleppo in Syria. He happened to be a Chalabi Jew. He would pass away in New York on March 30th in the year 1968. We're talking about now nearly 57 years ago from time of recording. Okay, let's explore a few highlights. He was born in Aleppo, as we said before, and I believe, come what the year 1907, he would actually emigrate to the United States of America. I think at that point in time, there was hardly any money the family had in itself, and he was, at that stage, when he moved to America, he would have probably been close to 20 years of age. I'm not too sure exactly, but around approximation that, maybe 1920. And he would actually settle in New York's Lower East Side. That's where he would settle. He would start working, let's just say, as a textile peddler. And I think come what the year 1921, by that stage he would really be in close to his mid-30s. He would, at that stage, found the Shalom and Co. With company, Shalom, which would grow into one of the leading handkerchief manufacturers in the United States of America. So that's obviously an interesting trade to be in over there. Now, straight away, all this, let's say, fountain of bracha within regards to his business would lead him to really use his resources and his wealth to do so much abundance of good across the world. So obviously, during the time period in New York, the Syrian Jewish community in Brooklyn grew, especially in the earlier parts of the 20th century. We've related over great rabbis in this series from the Syrian community over here. There was a huge amount of immigration that came to New York, so Mr. Shalom would actually play a central role in the development. He would provide financial support, employment, and guidance to help families establish themselves. He would provide loans to community members, sometimes to start, let's say, business, for example, even if it competed with his own. That's how great he was. He wanted to make sure everyone would stand in good stead. He didn't mind even competition over here, and he would actually encourage it. He would encourage them to share their success by supporting charitable causes. So fostering a culture of tzedakah. So he really imbued charity and excellent tzedakah work all throughout the community, really injected it in, not just through his brilliant acts, but by he leading by example, let's just say, that stuff. And it will shape the community. Obviously, it will be very prosperous. We know all throughout the Torah, it states about when you give money to charitable causes, you get the money back, how great it is. And he very much epitomized that in of itself. Now, come what the year 1946, Mr. Shalom would actually found the famous Magen David Yeshiva. This is, I think, based in America. This would offer, let's say, dual Jewish and also secular education at a time when, let's say, most Sephardic children attended public schools. So that was obviously a major issue for the Sephardic children to attend public schools, especially in America, a massive spiritual threat. So in order to, let's just say, maybe some people wanted a secular education, so he would make the school system so that they'll have a strong Torah education, but at the same time, they won't fall behind in secular studies, so that enable them to give them opportunities in life from the secular field. Now, the school helped preserve the community's heritage and values while preparing students for broader society. So very much the Syrian customs and was able to be fostered over there very much and encouraged and embraced and celebrated. Come what the early 1970s, I think this was after he passed away actually, a committee was formed to expand the building to meet rising demand. At that stage in time, it was so prosperous that now there was huge expansions being made. And the elementary school now was renamed Isaac Shalom Elementary School, named after the great philanthropist, in his honor, Today, I think at present, Magen David has approximately more than 2,000 students from preschool through high school, which is absolutely phenomenal. And you see, this is just enrollments in of itself, absolutely amazing work that Mr. Shalom actually did. Now, let's look at some of the early relief work he did and rescue involvement. Isaac Shalom was involved with the Va'ad Hatzalah. It was a rescue organization that was established in 1939 by the American Orthodox rabbis to assist European Jews during the Holocaust. So all over the field, he was very much doing that. Now, he would actually help with in regards to, or very much be integral part of the committee to the Forgotten Million. What was this, friends, over here? During his travels to Jewish communities in North Africa and all over the Middle East, Mr. Shalom observed widespread poverty, illiteracy, and a lack of infrastructure, let's just say, necessary to sustain Jewish communal life in those places. Obviously, these communities at the time were largely spared the extermination experienced by European Jewry during the horrors of the Holocaust, in which 1/3 of the Jewish population was murdered. We just see the anti-Semitism there was. We should educate everyone about this. However, they faced these communities which maybe didn't suffer with regards to that point of view, anti-Semitic legislation, economic hardship, and post-war instability. So Mr. Shalom created what he called the Committee for the Forgotten Million over here. What was that, friends? This happened to be, this committee, referring to nearly 1 million Jews in the Jewish communities across the Middle East and North Africa, to help those communities over there, whose needs were largely overlooked in the post-war Jewish world, because obviously the horrors of the Holocaust will obviously overtake anything. Rooted in centuries of religious and cultural life, these communities over here will now face a risk of decline, let's say dislocation and assimilation. So Mr. Shalom believed that education was essential to preserving the identity and the future, especially to shape these communities. Now, he would be involved, we're speaking about in this series, about the great Sephardi Rabbanim, and many of them would teach in an institution to be part or even learn in the Otzar Torah schools network. So he was one of the founders of this school network, which was a religious school network. So Mr. Shalom would co-found Otzar Torah, this network, in 1945. This was an organization devoted to sustaining Orthodox Jewish life through both religious and secular education. With support, I think, from the JDC, he helped establish a network of schools across Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, and briefly, I think, in Iraq also. These schools operated in cities such as Tangiers, Casablanca, Tunis, Cairo, Damascus, Beirut, and Tehran. I think my father actually learned in these institutions, these schools. And at their peak served more than 20,000 students. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, I think come what 1971, the Otzar HaTorah school in Damascus was singled out by the government education department for achieving the highest academic marks in Syria. So you see, from a secular point of view, it was brilliant, and it was a strong Torah Jewish education over there. Remember, many of these places had the Alliance school networks already in place for many years before. So Otzar Torah was definitely much more, let's just say, stronger, I would have to say, within regards to Torah education in as a whole. It would definitely do that. So many of the Rabbanim would have preferred this school system for sure. Now, in the decades following the Second World War, there was rising, after, let's just say, there was a lot of anti-Semitism and political upheaval, and it forced hundreds of thousands of Jews to flee North Africa and the Middle East. Now, a staggering over 300,000 resettled in France, including, let's just say, large numbers from Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. The French Jewish community, still obviously reeling from the Holocaust, which claimed the lives of nearly 80,000 French Jews, lacked infrastructure to absorb this influx. So Otzar Torah redirected its efforts to France now, opening its first school in Lyon in 1961. This followed by a network of institutions under leadership of Rabbi Jean-Paul Amoyel. And I think by the early 2000s, it operated more than 20 schools across the country of France, serving over 5,000 students. Now, Otzar Torah schools in France obviously earned also a reputation with regards to academic excellence The organization remains active, I believe, still in France today, where it's credited with helping preserve Jewish identity, culture, in the face, obviously, there's huge amounts of cultural pressures and social pressures. The organization also continues to operate, let's say, a small number of schools in Morocco. Obviously, still in Morocco, there are still Jewish communities over there, although it's diminished in recent years, which we have to point out. Now, just to look at his personal life for a second, Mr. Shalom actually lived in Brooklyn, in New York. He passed away on July the 24th in 1968 and was buried in East Jerusalem in Har Zaytim, the Mount of Olives burial plot. He was married to Alice Shalom. Well, I think her last name was Shabbat originally. She actually served as the vice president of the UJA Women, I think possibly in America, I'd assume. The couple had 3 sons and 2 daughters. In addition to his educational initiatives, Mr. Shalom was active in supporting Israel's economic development. He helped establish business ventures there, including Amcor Limited, an early Israeli automobile manufacturer. So you can see the amount of chesed, the amount of kindness Mr. Isaac Shalom did all throughout his life. He opened the Magen David school system, Otzar Torah, networks of schools, and did so much chesed for Am Yisrael and for everyone across the Jewish globe in of itself. So please, everyone, learn more about him, learn more about these schools. We did a video with regards to Otzar HaTorah School Network already. I just recorded that yesterday here at the time of recording. So please, everyone, we are a community here. We're learning, especially in this series, about the great, let's say, Oriental personalities, great rabbis of yesteryear who really shaped the Torah world, especially in Sephardic, Spanish countries and North African countries, respectively. Please, everyone, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel now. We're nearly on 7,000 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos to other people also. And we've already related nearly 1,000 biography videos of great Sephardi rabbis of yesteryear. So please, everyone, join the community now. Wishing you a fantastic day. And in advance, because tomorrow happens to be Shabbat Parashat Bamidbar, we're starting a new Sefer here inside the Torah. I'm wishing all a Shabbat Shalom in advance and many blessings here from the city of Bet Shemesh in Israel. Thank you very much again and have a great day.